Taboo Talk with Ray and Steve podcast takes a close-up look at controversial subject matter and hot-button topics, adding humor, cynicism, and a dose of reality to the stuff we're not supposed to talk about anymore. Politics, religion, sex, gender identity, violence, corruption. Nothing is left unturned in this lighthearted approach to information dissemination. The world is experiencing a pandemic of cowardice. 80% of people do not believe the craziness they've been coerced to agree with. Grab a friend, grab a beverage, and dive in with us as we take on the narrative and blast social stigmas with truth. Here are your hosts, Patriots Ray Amanat and Steve Reed.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody out in social media land, blog land, TV land. Welcome to Taboo Talk with Ray and Steve. I'm Ray Amanat, based out of sunny Port Richey, Florida, and I just want to say, wake the cluck up, America. Welcome to Taboo Talk, and joining me is my co-host, Mr. Steve Reed. We still got the names going for our
yes.
Still trying to get names for Mr. Cluck here.
Yeah, we need to promote that a little bit more.
Wake the cluck up, America. There's a lot going on, and oh my gosh, I was just listening to Biden speak on TV.
I'm sorry.
My head was going to explode. I needed to record it. I didn't get a chance to, but we need some fact checkers to check on all the lies that spewed out of his mouth with regards to the debt ceiling and the budgets that the Republicans are trying to push through. So that's going to be for another show. We've got a lot to talk about today. So how is Mr. Steve Reed?
Well, Ray, I'm doing okay. All things
considered. I heard you got shook up a little bit this weekend.
Well, so Saturday afternoon, I'm minding my own business. I'm actually doing some prep for today's program, and I was watching some videos and doing some research and articles and whatnot. And the odd thing is, I was doing some research on gun violence. Yeah. And something popped up on my feed on Facebook, and that's when everything started to go crazy for me. So the mall or the shopping center, the Allen Premium Outlets in Allen, Texas, it's about 25-30 miles north of downtown Dallas. Right. There was a lunatic that decided he was going to get out of his fairly late model silver gray Dodge Charger and start shooting people randomly. And
was this guy an American citizen?
I don't know. But as we go through the program, I will share some different things, things that I do know about the shooter. I don't want to glorify him. Interesting thing, there was an Allen police officer that was on the property at that very moment, and he heard the shooting, and he ran towards the fire, and he was able to take out the shooter very quickly, within just a few minutes. But by that time, the killer had already killed 8 people, and there were, I think, 7 or 8 other people that were injured and then subsequently taken to the hospital.
So I think before we go into a deep dive on this whole topic, we need to let our listeners and our viewers know that this is an opinion-based show.
Yes, it is.
And you're better at reading this than I am because I don't have my glasses on.
Well, it's an opinion-based program. And we are correct. We are accurate because we research and we know the truth and the facts. So it is not only an opinion-based program, but it is a fact-based program. Does not necessarily show the opinions of sponsors or guests or anybody else that's affiliated with us here on Taboo Talk with Ray and Steve and the OBBM network. But I will tell you, it's all fact-based. Okay? So
Absolutely.
that's our disclaimer. That's our disclaimer. So Ray, I've got some slides I want to share that just some different things. You know, the interesting thing with everything that's going on is I started several weeks ago, started doing some research on all of the different mass shootings or mass killings around the country. And
let's give
I've
everybody a definition of what a mass shooting
well,
killing is.
Ray, that means I need to pull this slide out for just a brief moment. Well, mass shooting, the easy version, 4 or more people killed at the same time. Okay.
Okay.
So that's pretty much it. Now, that number has changed. It was higher than that, but my understanding is the FBI has reduced those statistics. So now the official definition is 4. Right? So now I'm not going to classify this just as mass shootings. This is mass killings. And you'll understand why as we go through our program today. So here's what we know about the shooter in the Allen Outlet Mall. Okay. Number one, he was a 33-year-old Hispanic male. I'm not going to say his name. That's I probably shouldn't have even put it in there. But you'll notice he is a Hispanic male, or was. Okay. He was licensed to carry a weapon. He went through 3rd level training with weapons, and he was a licensed security guard. My understanding is what he was not at the time working as a security guard. I believe he was unemployed. Okay. In 2008, he had joined the Army, and was shortly after joining, he was going through basic training, and the Army decided that he had medical or mental issues, and they relieved him of any further responsibilities. Okay. It is said that he was sympathetic to white supremacist and neo-Nazi issues. Okay?
Now, real quick, I want to address something. If the Army removed him due to mental health concerns, right there could be a law that if anyone is ousted due to mental health issues from the military, should not be able to purchase a firearm.
Would agree with you. I would agree with you. But if he was not commissioned or fully inducted, he may have slipped through the cracks. Okay, right. Because he was still. My understanding is he was still in basic training, or just didn't graduate from basic training. So
they could have still red flagged him.
I'm sorry.
They could have still red flagged him.
It probably should have. Yes, probably should have. So I don't disagree with you. I just don't know the circumstance behind it. Okay.
Right.
So, but sympathetic to white supremacist and neo-Nazi issues. Okay. Now, this is kind of an ironic thing since he was Hispanic. He was not white. Okay. He had been living with his parents until recently, when he moved into an extended stay type motel. Okay. Kind of a day rate type place. And when police arrived at his parents' home to start their investigation, they very quickly asked for a translator. Now, I'm not going to read anything into that. I don't know if they were here legally, if he was here legally, if they were, I don't know. All I know is one of the early reports that I read Saturday afternoon was that when his parents were being questioned by police and FBI, they were asking questions or asking for a translator. Okay.
Right.
So, folks, y'all can make your own opinions on this. I'm not going there. Okay. Just
we'll learn more throughout the next few weeks as we get more information.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now let's take a little lesson or a walk through memory lane. In the 1950s, there were a grand total of 1 mass shootings. Okay, mass shooting and mass killings. Okay, for the entire decade of the 50s. In the 60s, 6, 70s, 13, 80s, 32, 90s, there were 42, and I couldn't find the statistics. And frankly, I just ran out of time on the 2000s and the teens, and then so far. However, I did see a report last night that there have already been over 200 mass killings in 2023.
So
Now,
I would like to know, and this is more research on our part, but what were the number of uh, responsible gun owners that had gone through training versus irresponsible gun owners that had gotten their gun through nefarious ways, stealing it from someone's house or someone's car or anything like that? And that's a statistic I would like to know.
well, and Ray, we got to go to a break.
Yes, we do.
So, folks, if you're listening in, please join us. Send us an email, comment on Facebook or YouTube Live, primarily Facebook Live. And if you know the answer to that question that Ray just offered, comment. Send us some information. We'd love to know. So, Ray, hold on to your socks. We're going to go to a commercial. But that's not the commercial we're going to. It's called I Hit the Wrong Button. Here we go.
Hi, welcome to Heroes in Action. I'm Ray Amanat, founder and creator of this training system. I originally made it so that everyone can train for free. We have programs for kids, for women, families, and businesses. I'm an author, speaker, and educator on everything that has to do with violence and bullying prevention education. If you'd like more information about who we are and what our programs are, please go to our website at heroesinaction.us or give me a call if you have any questions at 727-314-2534. We hope to see you here to train.
So, Ray, actually, I'm going to take this slide out because I want to show some other stuff for you in a second here. But my understanding is you played hooky, not my understanding. You played hooky last week because you were preoccupied with your self-defense stuff. So tell us about what you were doing last week.
Oh, I was back in St. Louis, hometown.
By choice?
I lived there for over 40 plus years. And I was working with Villa Duchesne, the 7th, 8th, and 9th graders on a personal protection class. I did a boxing camp with Brazilian boxing. We had Emil Hector on our show before in the past. And we did a boxing camp. And then I just visited family and friends the whole time I was out there. But guess what? I'm going to be going back out to St. Louis in June. I'll be doing a program for the DARE summer camp with Officer Ed Novak for his kiddos on top of
cool.
a level 2 boxing with Resilient Boxing. And I've got a couple other seminars that I'm working on lining up in the works out there as far as
that's pretty cool.
Children's anti-bully camp and a weapons seminar.
That's steady.
So
all right, so Ray, how can you afford to do this?
Well,
that's going to be pretty expensive.
When I go out of town, normally I don't charge for any of my services, but if I go out of town, my travel expenses and everything have to be covered. So airfare, rental car, once those are covered, everything else is still free. I'm not charging. So the only way I can do this is get a whole bunch of different types of workshops or seminars together to cover all of my overhead expenses so that I can travel and be there. Taking my books, taking the capes, taking whatever I can.
Yeah.
Certificates as giveaways once they complete the programs.
But Ray, don't you have an option for people to contribute on a monthly basis?
Yes, that's our goal. If we had
ultimate goal.
If we had enough donors, and I'm saying around 600 donors that were donating at least $25 a month recurring every month, then I wouldn't charge for anything. Everything would be free. I want to get it to a point where as a nonprofit organization, you make a tax deductible donation, and that goes to all of our programming. It goes through all of our books and handouts. as well as our travel expenses. Now, we don't have enough donors to cover everything yet. As if we get up to 500-600 donors that are donating a minimum of $25 a month, that enables us to do everything for free. So that's the ultimate goal. And we're getting more donors. It's happening slowly.
And they can go either, folks, if you're online and you can see it, we've got a QR code. It's a nice red and black QR code. Just scan that and you can donate right there. Or, Ray, do you have a website where people can go that are listening in?
Of course. You can go to heroesinaction.us. That's HEROESIN, ACTION.US.
And they can also send you an email. Yes. And your email address is?
Ray at heroesinactionnow.org. That's because you want to be a hero now. We train you to be that hero.
Oh, what a guy. How clever are you? All right. Let's go back to where we were, Ray. So 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 2000s, et cetera, 90s. Interesting thing. When I was in high school, and this is, back way before the turn of the century, it was not uncommon. I lived in a small town. It was not uncommon to see some of my classmates coming to school in pickup trucks, and they had their shotguns or their rifles on the gun rack or in the gun rack on the back window of their truck. And oddly enough, we never had gun violence back in the 60s and 70s when I was in school.
When I'm looking at these dates that you have listed up here from the 50s all the way up, when was drugs more, in what era was drugs more prevalent?
No, 60s and 70s.
The 60s and 70s. And that's when we started getting a ramp up of more mass shootings. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
If you can show that one image that I had sent you.
I'll show that in a second. Yeah, we'll get to it. Okay. So here's let's talk about the decline of our society. And the sad thing, just like every other mass shooting, and I'm doing the air quotes around shooting or mass shooting.
Everybody asks, why? Why did it happen?
Well, okay. The liberals and the vast majority of the media immediately pounced on guns as being to blame. Okay. But there are, last I heard, I want to say it's like 400 million guns in America today. Right now, we have 330 million people, but there are more guns than there are people. Okay. So what has happened over the past 60 years to cause the decay of our society? Number one, religion was being pushed out of society back in the 60s, getting prayer out of schools back in the 60s. Okay. And here's an interesting little side note. It was starting to be replaced by government. Okay. Now, government didn't step up and say, hey, we're the new religion. They just took the place of the religion. Okay. We started seeing more and more single parent homes, specifically fatherless homes. Now, why is that? Well, back in 1964, LBJ pushed through all of the welfare things that were going on. And one of the things that they did was if a mom was a single parent, she could get welfare as long as there was no man in the house. So that was just propagating the whole.
Boo.
Yeah, exactly. But that's whole propagating the myth that dads are not needed in the home. And that's probably one of the biggest things. Religion, and I don't mean just Christianity. Christianity, Protestantism, Catholicism, Judaism, etc. When you push those faith-based things out of the marketplace, you're going to have a decline in morality in general. Okay.
Absolutely.
If there's no father in the house, there's oftentimes no discipline in the house. Mom is probably working 60, 70 hours a week. She can't be around. If there's a mom and a dad, then you're likely to have more discipline. Introduction of isotropic drugs. Those are the mind-altering drugs. And yes, marijuana is a mind-altering drug. I don't care what people say. Well, it's harmless. Okay, fine, whatever. Okay. The devaluation of life, specifically in the early 70s with abortion, 1973.
Right.
People say we don't. It's just a clump of cells. Oh yeah, let's see, a clump of cells that has its own individual DNA. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that. Moving on. Most of the shooters are loners. They're not involved in community things, unless maybe it's some of the neo-Nazi things that are going on. So it's crazy stuff that is going on. So let's keep going. Here are some other things. Glorification of violence in TV, movies, internet, gaming, and Hollywood in general.
Yeah, I'm a stickler on this because you have the Hollywood elites that are like pushing for all of these gun control and everything, but then they go and make a movie that is based on killing lots of people.
Oh yeah.
And they make a TV series that
exactly.
My gosh, it's based on killing lots of people.
And back in the 50s and 60s with all of the westerns that were popular at that time, and there were a few military TV shows, but mostly the westerns. You saw fights, but you never saw people getting killed. I mean, there were people that died, but you didn't see the blood and guts like we see today.
No, I don't think I saw anyone die on Gomer Pyle.
There were some people. There were some people.
Maybe Hogan's Heroes.
Yeah, but the Lone Ranger didn't kill people. He just beat them up. Okay. He and Tonto. And Ben Cartwright didn't kill anybody, and so forth. Now I may be wrong in that, but anyway, if you are, or if I am, then send me an email and I'll correct it next time. But we didn't have the kind of real violence, the graphic violence that we have today. And then, Ray, when we were talking yesterday, you made a comment, you alluded to the guy that was making the movie on the movie set, I want to say in New Mexico, and he had a loaded gun and he shot a couple of people that were on the set.
His producer, right.
Yeah. And they're trying to plea bargain so that Alex Baldwin doesn't have to go to prison. I'm sorry. He made a mistake. You got to pay the consequences. So, all right, let's keep going. Single males.
That's what fame gets for you, is you get to not go to jail.
Yeah. So single males, the number of people that are getting married is declining, which means there are more and more people, men and women, that are alone. Okay. And here's another big one: victim mentality. There are so many people that they were a victim and they can't get rid of that. They can't walk away from that. And they carry that as a badge of honor, or they carry a 9mm in their pocket. So if somebody tries to make them into a victim, they're going to make them into a victim. So these are the primary things that are going on. This has nothing to do with the gun. A gun is an inanimate object. It can't do anything. It's just sitting on a table or on a shelf or in a safe or whatever. It can't do anything by itself. Right. It has to take outside involvement in order for it to do anything whatsoever. Okay? So, were you trying to tell me something there, Ray?
No.
Okay.
But I think we do need to go to another commercial break.
Yes, we do. So, folks, think about some of the other instruments of death that are being used. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But first, let's talk about extending life instead of talking about death.
We all hope to age gracefully so we can enjoy our later years full of energy, vitality, and good health. But so often with age, our bodies start to show signs that things just aren't as they used to be. Our energy, skin, healing and recovery time, sleep, it all just seems to go downhill. Introducing LifeWave X39, the world's first product ever to activate stem cells. A true breakthrough in regenerative science that helps restore our bodies to a healthier, more youthful state in a way no other product can. No drugs, no injections, no kidding.
So, Ray, it says no drugs, no injections, anything of that sort. Here's what it is. It's a tiny little wafer-thin patch. You just simply peel off the back, you stick it on your body, any place on your body. You can even wear it on your clothes. Wear it for 12 hours, take it off, throw it away. Put another one on, 12 hours, take it off, throw it away. It gives people amazing results in pain relief, actually give you more mental clarity, more energy, better focus, scar reduction. There's so many incredible benefits. And here's the great thing. It is a one-of-a-kind product. There's absolutely nothing else on the market that will reactivate your stem cells. What happens is, by the time we reach the age 60, our stem cells have pretty much gone dormant. 10% activity in our stem cells. That's why it takes us so long for us to heal once we have had an injury of some sort. So, folks, if you want some more information, you can go to a great website. It is startx39now.com. Startx39now.com, or you can reach out to me at my email. Let me see if I can find the email here, Ray. Bear with me for a second. Yes, here we go. My email is info@StephenReedMinistries.com. And that's STEPHENREED. Ministries is MINISTRIES.com. I'd love to have a conversation. In fact, you reach out to me, I'll send you a free sample. It's pretty cool. I love it. I've been using these things for about almost 16 months now, and I'm having amazing results. So,
and that's something that's positive. That's always we can talk about, because we have another conference, I believe, coming up in Tampa.
Yes, in October.
I'm possibly going to. I don't know if you're coming out to that or not.
Yeah, I will be. And actually, that's in Orlando in October, and there's a conference coming up in just a couple of weeks in Tampa. Right. So send me an email, folks, and I would love to give you the information, and or send Ray an email, and you guys can hook up, and there will be a ton of great information. A lot of our leaders, company leaders, are going to be there to share. So, all right, Ray, we got to keep going. We got a lot of information still. Let's talk specifically about mental illness. There are a lot of people that are talking about, well, this is a result of mental illness, and we're not addressing the issue. So let's look at the definition. I got this morning from Merriam-Webster's dictionary. It says, any of a broad range of medical conditions, parenthesis, such as major depression, schizophrenia, obsessive compulsive disorder, or panic disorder, end parenthesis, that are marked primarily by sufficient disorganization of personality, mind, or emotions to impair normal psychological functioning and caused marked distress or disability, and that are typically associated with a disruptive in normal thinking, feeling, mood, behavior, interpersonal interactions, or daily functioning. That is a mouthful.
I was just going to say that.
That is a mouthful. But that's what Merriam-Webster says is the definition of mental illness. Okay, so you notice there's some specific disorders that are mentioned: major depression, schizophrenia, obsessive compulsive disorder, and panic disorder. But I'm going to expand that a little bit to add a few other things in here. Narcissism.
How many of you know somebody that it's all about them?
How many of you know somebody that were either married to or have other family members that are narcissistic? Okay, it's all about them. Okay,
if now, they don't get what they want, then God knows, God help you or whoever's in that relationship.
Absolutely,
what they're capable of doing.
This is a personal thing, Ray. I'm not intending to toot my horn. My undergraduate degrees in psychology have been studying and researching all of this stuff and people's personality temperaments and so forth for 50 years. So I know a little bit about this stuff. Then we've got bipolar disorder. Yes, you do. No, you don't. Yes, you do. No, you don't. Yes, you do. Okay. Manic depressive. Okay. 1 minute you are in somebody's face, the next minute you're depressed. Okay. And it's uncontrollable. No, let me
Well,
rephrase.
it's
It
yeah,
can't be
we got
controlled.
you've got your 1 second you're happy and go lucky and you're out
Yes.
there. The next is it's been dark thoughts and you're
Yeah.
isolating yourself.
Yeah. And the very close cousin, first cousin to bipolar disorder or manic depressive is borderline personality disorder. I have personal and firsthand information on that and narcissism because of family relationships. So I know them very, very well and intimately. And this can cause people to do stuff, crazy stuff.
Right. Yeah. That's a big part of why we're talking about this to our listening and viewing audience is if you do know somebody, yeah, this is one of those, if you see something, say something.
Yes.
If you're coming across somebody and they're displaying radical or awkward behaviors, narcissistic behaviors, or borderline personality, anything, and you think that they're capable of hurting themselves or hurting the people around them, then report it. Save a life.
Yes,
report it to somebody.
Yep.
Yeah, you're not just saving someone else's life, but you're also saving this person's life that is going through those mental health issues, because a lot of times active shooters get terminated by law enforcement. So they you know, if they engage law enforcement, they can lose their life. If you report it, then you're saving their life as well.
Well, as long as it is addressed properly by the appropriate organizations, okay?
Right.
Whether it's a government organization or a church, a nonprofit of some sort, it has to be addressed. Right. And you can't just say, well, you know, there's nothing we can do. We send them back out on the street. No, you got to do something. And frankly, there are a lot of our returning military personnel that are still dealing or are dealing with PTSD. And as a result of that, they need help. And there are a lot of organizations that are out there that are equipped to help them out. You know, for instance, one of the organizations that we had J.R. Smith on the broadcast several months ago, he's got a program based out of Florida, just east of Tampa. It's called the Veterans Ranch. They are equipped to help people with PTS. So don't just leave people alone and turn your backs. See if you can help them get help. So what are social media and other societal norms doing to enhance or increase mental illness? We got a lot of stuff going on with loneliness. This shooter here in Texas last Saturday, he was a loner. Nobody saw him with other people. He was either working or he was on the internet. Okay, rejection, abuse of any sort. There are people that they were victims. I mentioned that a minute ago. They were victims, and they're going to take out their victim status on anybody. They were abused maybe when they were growing up, or maybe recently. Okay, you know. Okay, so I just opened up a hornet's nest, or I just beat the hornet's nest. LGBT issues and transgender or gender dysphoria. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe those words came out of your mouth.
I know.
We're going to get phone calls left and right. We're going to get people
you know,
no more LifeWave.
Yeah, really. So 50 years ago when I was in college, one of the classes that I had to take, and I've said this in the past broadcasts, one of the classes I had to take was abnormal psychology. And LGBT issues, LGBT, whatever all the other letters are, and transgender issues, they were all classified as abnormal. They are not normal behaviors, okay? So those people need psychological help, not a drug to change their gender, because you cannot change your gender, period, end of discussion. You are born a male or a female. In very rare cases, there is somebody that has some of the body parts from both sexes. But that is highly, 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 highly rare, okay?
So how does social media affect this? In my opinion, it normalizes it. If you have a pedophile that goes on social media and they find other sites that are pro pedophilia that, or say, hey, join our group or whatever, and this person sees, oh, I'm not alone, I'm not a sick person because there's other people out there just like me.
Yep.
And now they feel like, well, it's a normal thing, and then they do it more. Well, that's a big problem with social media or the internet, is you have access to not only good things, but you've got access to pure evil things.
Absolutely.
And if you're lonely and you're in a mindset that is something that is relating to you, then that's going to affect how you think and what you do. And next thing you know, you're snapping and you're just going out and becoming pure evil.
Yep. And again, Ray, I put our disclaimer up there. These are our opinions, but based on history and the knowledge that I have of these issues, these people need help. They need psychological counseling. But
nobody's going to be able to give them that kind of help if family members, friends, people in the community don't see the red flags and don't report the red flags. If you see something, say something. That's why they keep saying it, but you got to know what to look for, and you have to not be afraid to be an anonymous person that reports something that's going to save that person's life and probably the lives of many others.
Yep. You know, Ray, back to the social media aspect of things. Have you ever seen anybody put, other than if they're making a joke about something, put something on the internet, on Facebook or whatever social media platform, that shows that person in a really bad light? No. We always put the best pictures on the internet. We always put our favorite things on there. We don't put the things that are going to be disparaging to us. So as a result, everybody sees this fake facade of who we are. They don't know the challenges and the problems that we are dealing with. So that's one of the biggest things that social media, Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok and Facebook and all of the others, it's putting a fake representation of that individual out there.
Right.
It's not reality. It's not reality. And what happens is we end up comparing ourselves to everybody else that's on the internet and saying, well, I'm not a pretty blonde, or I don't have perfect whatever, etc. And as a result, you have people that have these feelings of inadequacy because I'll never be like so-and-so. Okay. And that's probably one of the biggest challenges that we have. We're living in a fake world in many, many ways. Get help. If you're feeling inadequate, get help. Talk to somebody with some authority that can help you through some of the challenges.
Right.
So, and Ray, with that, we need to take another real quick break. So why don't we talk a little bit about the OBBM network and the privilege that we have of being affiliated with them. Hang on. Here we go. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now your DFW events can be listed on the DFW events segment of OBBM Network News. New episodes posted each week are reaching people right here in your own backyard. Get in on this. Now it's affordable to reach thousands of people in new markets, offering exposure to your professional network like never before. Get us your listing by Tuesday at noon, and you'll be included in the following week's release on Monday. Email info@offbeatbusiness.com for our digital media kit and discover a better way to reach DFW. Not hosting events? Your business will benefit from the exposure our events list generates. Take advantage of brand exposure on the ticker or with the logo graphic, video advertisement, even a QR code. Click on our QR code to access our digital media kit now.
And you know, the great thing about OBBM Network is they're a nationwide program or operation. And they've got a number of programs like ours that are broadcasting on all of the major networks. So the Spotifys and the Apples and the iHearts. Yes, absolutely. So if you've got a nationwide audience, then you should really consider doing some things with the OBBM Network. So send us an email, and we can certainly get you in touch with Susan. And
Look
the
them up.
folks.
Look them up. Do your homework. Check out a
And
lot of the other
join-
programming that they have.
Yes. Subscribe to their network. It's a great organization. We are honored and privileged to be part of the OBBM network. And one of the great things is, Ray, we are on Rumble. I love that. That was one of my dreams. I didn't even know it was a dream. So anyway, all right, let's continue on with this nonsense. So what are some of the other tools that people are using for mass killings? Automobiles, screwdrivers, hammers, glass bottles, golf clubs, bats, knives, rocks. Okay. Now, when I say, remember, our definition is 4 people or more. Can you kill more than one person with a rock? Of course you can. You know, when you look back in biblical times, Old Testament times, David approached Goliath with 5 stones. Okay. If Goliath's 4 brothers had come out and David had killed all 5 of them, that would have been a mass killing.
That's if they didn't all stomp on them
no, he would have gotten them all. He would have gotten them all. He was a sharpshooter, so to speak, back in his day. But now, why do I bring this up? Because just earlier this week, there was a mass killing in South Texas, in Brownsville, Texas. It's right on the border of Texas and Mexico. And there were, I believe it was 8 people that were run over and killed. And so it was not a gun. So
they're still trying to decide if it was a driving incident.
Don't know yet. Don't know.
He had malicious intent. Once they get all that information, then we'll know. But if it was malicious, then yes. What are they going to do? Ban all the cars?
It's not going to happen. I've got a slide to talk about that. So naturally, all of the liberal media came out on Saturday and immediately started saying, we need to ban all the guns. We need to, pass gun laws. Well, wait a second. All of the gun laws that they are talking about, it's either get rid of long rifles, AR-16 or AR-15 style weapons. Okay, which all that means is they've got a device that they can put on there, maybe a pistol, whatever. That's all it is. Okay, but they're trying.
I want to get rid of all semi-automatic weapons and go back to the single shot or the muzzle load or
all part of gun control. Here's the crazy thing: they're targeting people saying you've got to be 21 years old or older. Well, the shooter in Texas was 33. So the gun laws that are on the books wouldn't have stopped him. Okay, so I'm going to keep going, but that's one of the things that Saul Alinsky was talking about, trying to destroy the country. Who's the number one mass killer? It is governments all across the world. All around the world.
Let's talk about COVID for a second.
Yeah, no, we don't have time for that. We're running low. We've only got 6 minutes left, right? Dennis Prager says that when you look at cultural and moral breakdown, the left, liberals, socialist, communist, Marxist, whatever. I'm sorry. I am so sorry for being so redundant. I should not have been repeating myself. They're all the same. They fight guns, whereas conservatives or the right fights evil. And that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about fighting evil, okay? Crime Prevention Research Center is a great place to do your own discovery and research. The web address is crimeresearch.org. I've been following them for, 6-8 months. And John R. Lott has some really great information, all of the good statistics on what's going on and the directions that we should be going.
The inflated statistics.
Exactly. All right. So Ray, you said a minute ago, guns versus cars. Now this graphic isn't the best, other than you'll see on the right hand side of this graphic, and we'll try and describe this. You've got 2 pistols in one column. The next column you have 6 automobiles. And that's the ratio, so they say. Well, it's not. That's not accurate. There are less than 300 million cars in the country, but there are over 300 million guns. Okay, so what we've got here isn't a good representation, but the number of killings from automobiles and guns is almost identical. It's very, very similar in numbers. Okay, here's an interesting statistic: 43 million deaths due to weapons, due to guns, okay? But at the same time, 43 million.
Is it million or is 43,000?
43,000. My bad. Thanks for correcting me on that. That's the only mistake I've made so far this month, so I appreciate that. Right?
That would be wiping out the whole
really?
population up here.
43,000 cancer deaths, and this is specifically breast cancer, but you also have 49,000 deaths that are pancreatic cancer on an annual basis. So more statistics. All right, let's look at some more information. 72% of all households in the United States have a handgun. 62% have a rifle. 54% have a shotgun. We ain't getting rid of the guns, folks. I don't care what you say. When I saw this, and Ray, thank you for sending this to me. This is from Pew Research. Pew Research? No, this is FBI. 45% of all of the killings, all of the murders, are because of handguns. Handguns, okay?
Correct.
But 26% are other things. It could be somebody that's strangulating, somebody that burned somebody's house down, other weapons, knives, glass bottles, rocks, whatever, golf clubs, bats, whatever. Okay, that's 26% for all of those things. Then you've got unknown gun deaths. We don't know what the gun was that was used, but this is an interesting statistic. Only 2.6% of all of the murders are related to long guns, AR-15 style weapons. So why are we trying to ban AR-15s if it's only 2.6%? It's ridiculous.
Right. I'm just looking at the unknown one. That is crazy.
It is. It's 23%. Okay, Ray, you sent me this morning. You got to read this one off for us.
I'm going to read this. So this is Dear, I saw this on Facebook. So yes, I'm a Facebook junkie. But dear government, after a 47-year war on drugs, you can't keep drugs off the streets. You can't keep drugs out of elementary schools. You can't even keep drugs out of federal prisons. Yet now you want me to disarm myself and trust that you can keep guns from criminals. I mean, that says it all. You know, the fentanyl that's out there, the epidemic that's going on. Yeah, there's a big war on drugs that's failing. And if they can't deal with that, how do you expect them to deal with firearms? You're not going to be, you might be able to take guns away from responsible gun owners, but the criminals are not going to give up their guns. And you're just making normal citizens that are law-abiding citizens vulnerable to these criminals because they can't defend themselves.
Yep. All right, Ray, one last slide for us. Here's what I would like to see on every shooting incident that goes on. I want to know what the family history is. Was the family, when that person was growing up, was the family intact? Mother and father together? Was the father in the home? Was the shooter involved in some type of religious organization, church, synagogue, whatever the case is? What are the results from the toxicology reports? Were they on drugs of some sort? Was there alcohol involved? Was there gang involvement? What was the highest level of education that the people had? Were they high school dropouts? What was their work status? Were they unemployed or just not working because they didn't feel like working? Were they living on welfare? And the last issue is, what is their mental illness state? Was there a challenge, and did people know about it? When we start looking at these things and start addressing these issues, our gun and our violence problem is going to be diminished in a huge, huge way.
Yeah, and just enforce the laws.
Radical concept.
Just enforce the laws.
Yeah, and we don't have time to talk about it, but the border is now officially being opened up tomorrow, to the best of my understanding, and that is a travesty for the entire country, for the entire world. But
this administration will have a lot of blood on his hands.
Yes, they already do. Ray, we're out of time. I hope next time we can be a little bit more positive on stuff. These are some positive things that we need to do. We need to deal with the mental illness issue. That's the number one thing. It is not a gun issue. It's a mental illness issue. It's a heart issue. And we got a lot of messed up people.
100%, yes.
Ray, it's been fun. It's been a blessing. You have a fabulous remainder of the week. Folks, like, subscribe, join us, share, comment. Taboo Talk with Ray and Steve. We'll talk to you guys next week. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Taboo Talk with Ray and Steve. If you have suggestions for topics you would like us to discuss, or you would like to become a sponsor, reach out to us today at tabootalkwithrayansteve@gmail.com. In the meantime, check out the other amazing programs on OBBM Network on all your favorite podcast platforms. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. Join us again for another fun and informative opinion-based episode. This is Taboo Talk with Ray and Steve.